My name is Jonathan Healy. I'm a communications consultant and a broadcaster. I spent 20 years being a journalist, so I've been working hard with organisations like News Talk and Sky News and building up a reputation over the course of 2 decades. And I'm now using that experience in a different way in the communication sphere to work on things like corporate storytelling, corporate communications, media training and event facilitation as well. I'm keeping a toe in broadcasting, which is important because it's my first passion, it's what I love, but it's about broadening horizons and preparing for the changing face of media into the future. The best way I can describe it is, imagine 10 years ago you had advertising executives sitting in a room with a budget of €1 million, and they'd say, right, we're going to spend half of that on TV and radio and half of that on newspapers. Exactly the same boardroom right now, deciding on exactly the same budget. They're going to say, well, half of that is going to go on social spend and half it is going to go to traditional media. So the challenge that traditional media is facing is that the amount of money they had to create content has been slashed massively. I think where the growth is going to be in business in years to come is organisations effectively becoming their own medium, that they won't necessarily have to go through traditional media if they want to spread their message. They'll be able to do it themselves, they'll be able to interact with their customers directly, and they'll be able to control their message better. It's a very difficult world to break into because it can be quite cutthroat. You have to be able to stand very much on your own 2 feet, but you also have to be able to convince your customers that you can help them sell that message. You can help them be heard above that noise. And a lot of people just aren't able to make the switch that readily. It's an exciting time though. While there's so many different challenges out there, you have to remember that there are different ways that you can get involved, and all of the people who are coming up behind now, who are, the digital natives of their generation, they are going to start feeding in a lot more into how media and content is created. So they're the guys that I want to work with, and they're the guys I think that will help shape and form this particular industry into the future. Don't undervalue yourself. Which is often easy done when you're in the confines of your own head, that you might very well think that your value is less than it actually is. Always look to those around you and how they value you or have valued you in the past, and let that be the rationale for you going out to work in the morning, and not what you think the bottom line should be. The worst advice you can be given is that can't be done, because if you're given that, there's probably a way to do it, it just hasn't been thought of yet, or you haven't convinced them that your way is the right way. Social media changed completely how we deal with it. Like, going back even 10 years, 5 years, we wouldn't necessarily have had a lot of direct contact with the audience that we were broadcasting to. That completely changed with the introduction of social media, where people could get at you directly, one-on-one, tag you, you see their message. It took a while to get over the fact that these people wouldn't necessarily say it to your face. And that's the big difference, that if you confront people on social media, as a rule they'll either back down or they'll try and justify their stance in a more rational and reasonable way. The best thing you can do is, if somebody gets to you, just mute them. Don't block them, just mute them, so they can continue thinking that they're getting to you, whereas in reality they don't get through at all. And the vast majority of interactions are positive, like they are in life. Occasionally you're going to meet a guy or a girl you don't like and they're going to say nasty things about you. You just move on from them. There's no point in focusing, because if you allow them get in, they undermine your confidence and they affect your ability to do the job, which is not a reflection of you, it's actually a reflection of them. There are slips of the tongue which can be quite funny. There's, the opportunity that came along when we had no scripts in front of us, which is like the radio nightmare, that you've no scripts in front of you, but it happened once because we dropped them going into the studio and it was all chaotic and we had no idea what we were reading. But we bludgeoned our way through it and got to the end. There's things you could do better all the time, but the best thing when something happens is, as long as it's not career ending, laugh it off.